My name is Ron Moak, and I'm the president of Six Moon Designs. So I started it back in 2002, and I would like to say that I am semi-retired. My biggest role is to say, where do you want to go for the future, and how do we get there? I started Six Moon Designs rather late in life. It's a combination of many years of essentially being a DIY person, and I was able to use a lot of the talents that I had from decades of working in different occupations and pull them together and create a company that has been far more successful than we ever expected it to be. I came up in the 60s and 70s, and that was before there were pack shops. The opportunity for Six Moon Designs was a new revolution in terms of how people approached backpacking from the more traditional backpacking that was established in the 60s and 70s with heavier weight gear to a lighter approach where people could spend their time enjoying the walking as opposed to carrying heavy packs and being miserable until they got to camp, and then they could stretch out and die in their tents. Ray Jardine, he's an engineer, and he thinks out of the box, which is good. He sort of went back to the old days of Grandma Gatewood and examined what she was doing, because she was hiking in tennis shoes and a shower curtain, plastic shower curtain with a satchel, not even a pack thing. So he kind of put together a system with a simple pack, shoulder straps. It was basically a grocery bag with shoulder straps, which we all called. It had a big pocket on the back, two side pockets, and a big canvas pocket in the middle, and that was it. Those of us who came along behind Ray, then there was a whole bunch of us who started out. He took his concepts and ran with them and created companies, a whole series of companies, basing upon some of his philosophy. At the time, the ultralight market didn't exist. Ray wrote his book. The first book came out in '95, and then it came out in '96, and then Beyond Backpacking, which was incorporated more than just a PCT handbook, came out I think '98 or somewhere around there. Revolutionized the way people thought about things in terms of gear and systems and approach. And I had just gone through cancer, and I was looking for changing careers and trying to get back in the outdoor industry, and wanted to change my lifestyle. I spent about 5 years before I started Six Moon Designs analyzing ultralight gear from about '97 to about 2002. So I was looking for a change, and we had people like Gossamer Gear. He was an engineer, and he was truly into ultralight stuff. That was Glenn Van Pesky. You had people like Henry Shires from Tarp Tent. He was looking at changing his career. Ron Bell from Mountain Laurel Designs. Brian Frankel, he was the youngest of all of us. He was, he was still in his 20s at the time. None of us were professionals. All of us were DIYers. All of us were just hacks, experimenting with stuff. All we had was basically some ideas and a cheap internet website. We were like, friends with our customers, and you were getting a lot of feedback, so we were able to learn what we needed to learn on a long, slow, gradual scale. Those are the areas where the most opportunity is, when you can go into some place where you're creating the opportunity. You're not just copying somebody else, but you're coming up with fresh ideas and learning how to do things. A lot of the stuff we do in design is to say, okay, how do we create a product and it has more capability, and then even if it's a little heavier, it has more value than a product that's lighter that has a single use. What we've done on the Swift is we've brought it ahead of generation, and we've also incorporated things like the vest, which I came out with about 20 years ago. I went through cancer back in the mid-90s, and I'd always had a problem when I hiked that I could hike for about 2 hours before I had to lay out on the ground and relax my back enough and take, several ibuprofen. I just took a crude empty bag and attached it to a fishing vest, and I discovered that because it grips you across the core, it takes the weight off your hips and off your shoulder and distributes it over. A vest has a much larger surface area. So that means every inch of attachment on your body has less weight that it has to support. That means the weight spread over a wider area, less on your shoulders, less on your hips. It moves with you. When you turn, it turns. When you run, it goes with you, and it supports your back. It basically acts like a like a backboard. It just fuses with your back and allowed me to walk 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours comfortably without having back pain. And so we kind of went old school and new school all into one pack. Packs aren't just utility, packs are also fashion. People like to see the newest stuff in a pack. It makes them feel like they're, with the times or ahead of the times. And so, as a pack designer, you know what is important from a personal point of view out in the woods on a day-to-day walk. But it's also important to be tagged into your gear when you're off trail. We try to choose fabrics which are state-of-the-art and still good, highly functional, and also lightweight. If they fail on the usability status, we don't go there. And also inexpensive. We probably went through 15 different meshes over the years on packs. The company we use now, they make a product called Tweave. Their biggest client was Nike, and Tweave had a great fabric that was stretchy, had a lot of bounce back, was very strong, and they were using a variation of what we ended up using in Nike uniforms. The one thing uniform about our packs in the last 5 years, if you look at reviews or people talking about it, is the comfort of our packs. It's been consistent because we changed the frame system, and how packs work. And whether they're talking about the Swift X or they're talking about, the Fusion packs or the Flight packs, everybody, the one key thing they talk about in all of our packs is how it feels after the end of a long day, whether you're carrying 20, 25 pounds or you're carrying 50 to 55 pounds. Light packs, good carries, long day comfort. We appeal a lot to older hikers, 6 Minute Designs. So I'm an older guy, obviously. And so a lot of people in my age don't look for adrenaline sports. We're not going to go do, kiteboarding, and my days of skiing are probably past. But that doesn't mean we can't go out here and enjoy, It doesn't have to be an adrenaline activity to have an exciting time. Just walking up a mountain to get to the top of the mountain and looking at a good view. I mean, that's, if you're in your 50s and 60s, that could be life-changing for people. My philosophy is basically people need to be out here, and they can't get out here if everything is overpriced and too many regulations and too many obstacles to getting out here. I want you to spend your money out here, not on the gear to get out here, but to be out here, to spend, another day, another week, another month enjoying that, as opposed to spending, $500 on a toy when $150 will do the same thing. And so my job is to be like the oil to get you from, sitting on your couch to being out here walking on the trails and relaxing and, getting in shape and, getting a second life. You shed gear basically because your experience you're trying to create as a thru hiker is the ability to walk 2,000, 3,000 miles comfortably over a period of a month through a vast array of conditions. And I hope we help people to do that,